scoring, it marked more than just the first offensive points scored by the Tigers in 3 years. It also represented hope that this rivalry could be competitive again. And, well, yeah. But it hadn't been expected that Auburn would make it this close, this quick. After Cam Newton made Gene Chizik look competent in 2010, Auburn struggled to replicate that success. Their title defense came up well short as they alternated wins and losses from October on. Offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn left to coach Arkansas State, and with him went the Tigers' offense. They tumbled from best in the nation with Cam to outside the top 100 in total offense in a season where they finished with just 3 wins. They were winless in SEC play, and once Chizik got the boot, the Gus bus pulled back into the station, and with it, the hope for anything that resembled an offense. While the turnaround was expected, it wasn't forecasted to happen in Malzahn's first year back. The Tigers entered the season unranked and needed some late magic from Marshall just to sneak past Mississippi State. After a loss in Baton Rouge, Auburn strung together a couple wins, and a shootout victory over Johnny Manziel in College Station hurled Auburn up the ranks. But 2 weeks before the Iron Bowl, it looked like their ride was over. Down 1 late to Georgia, they were facing 4th and 18 when this happened.
Let's it go!
Prayer at Jordan-Hare moved Auburn up to number 4 in the nation for their showdown with Alabama, making it the highest-ranked Iron Bowl ever and just the second time both teams were in the top 5. And unlike other times Bama has faced a fellow top 5 team, at 28 all, the Tide have let this one get competitive. While Auburn's turnaround surprised some, Alabama had dominated its schedule pretty much as expected. They were coming off back-to-back national championships, the most recent being their complete annihilation of Notre Dame, and were projected to take home a 3rd straight. They came into the season ranked number 1 and hadn't left that spot since. The toughest test for the Tide came in their second game of the year at 6th-ranked Texas A&M, but even that wasn't as close as the final score indicates. Since then, they beat opponents by an average of 43 points, so Vegas was being polite to give this just a 10-point spread. With A.J. McCarron, Amari Cooper, and T.J. Yeldon, most believed their offense would be too much for Auburn to handle. The only person reckless enough to not pick Bama was Sir Charles Barkley.
But Nick Marshall's going to come up big, and first of all, it's not going to be an upset.
Okay, all right.
And once Alabama's offense woke up in the second quarter, it looked like Chuck was right, at least about there not being an upset. McCarron hit Jalston Fowler for their first score, then connected with Kevin Norwood for a 20-yard touchdown after a Trey Mason fumble gave them a short field. Following an Auburn punt, Yeldon barreled in to make it 21 unanswered for Alabama. And even though they haven't held onto that lead, they're still in position to win it right here. But from 57 yards out, this kick is essentially a different type of Hail Mary that left even Vern and Gary confused.
They're going to try a field goal?
60 minutes ago, it would have made a little more sense. Alabama's kicker, senior Cade Foster, came into this game on a roll. He hadn't missed a field goal attempt since his first try of the season and had even drilled a 53-yarder against Ole Miss. But tonight, that went out the window. In the first quarter, he sent a 44-yard kick wide left. A chance at redemption wouldn't come until the start of the fourth, which he knocked through from 28 yards out. But a false start penalty forced a re-kick from 33, which he badly missed, again to the left. 9 minutes later, Saban avoided his struggling kicker, going for it on 4th down instead of attempting a 30-yard field goal that would put them up 10, a gamble that didn't work out. Foster would later get a chance to put Bama up double digits late, but
Foster kicks it, and it's going to be wide left. It's blocked. It's blocked.
it just wouldn't be his night. By the time Alabama was looking at a 57-yarder to win it, Foster had lost his chance to play the hero. He was replaced by a freshman kicker who even Vern didn't know.
It's Adrian Griffin.
It's actually Adam Griffith, who had only attempted 2 kicks all season, making one from 20 and missing the other from 30. Whether Saban had seen enough of Foster or didn't want to further shake the senior in case he was needed in overtime, Griffith lined up with 1 second left, looking to end it. But wait, who's this little guy down here? So that's senior cornerback Chris Davis. He's a real long way from the ball, but moment earlier, he wasn't even on the field. Auburn originally sent fellow DB Ryan Smith to the end zone in case the kick came up short, but realizing they had someone a little better at returns, called a timeout to make the switch. Davis, one of just a handful of players remaining from the Tigers' 2010 national championship, was leading the nation in punt return average. Against Tennessee, even after a muff, he took one to the house, which sparked an Auburn rout, and afterwards let the media know he didn't need much to do something special.
I seen that I had a little space. All I need is a little crease, and I can do something with the ball like that.
On top of those duties, he entered tonight as Auburn's leading tackler. But while he added another 10 to his total, back in the fourth, Auburn probably wished their top defensive back had been closer to the action on one play in particular. With Alabama in the shadow of their goalpost following an Auburn punt, Davis was up at the line playing the contain on an expected rush attempt. But coming off the play action, McCarron unloaded one deep to the opposite side of the field. Amari Cooper just had to shake off one would-be tackler, while the trailing corner could only watch as Alabama took a 7-point lead. And when Auburn got the ball, turnover on downs, as the Titans clamped down on their use of the option. It felt like only a matter of time, considering they were facing a quarterback who began his career as a 3-star defensive back at Georgia, and was still just in his first season leading the Auburn offense. But, as he'd been asked to do throughout the season, Marshall once again looked to bail Auburn out with under a minute to play. After handing it off to Trey Mason for 6 straight rushes, Marshall kept the ball himself. As the defender bit, he found Sammy Coates with nothing but space around him. And now, both sides hope for a different sort of miracle. The fact that there's still 1 second on the clock is a pretty good start for Alabama. Starting from their own 29 with just 25 seconds remaining, the idea of getting close enough even for a Hail Mary pass took a hit when McCarron had to dance around the pocket before getting rid of the ball, which quickly killed 9 seconds. Alabama then seemed content to head to overtime, but on second down, Yeldon gained enough that Saban called one of their 2 remaining timeouts. With 7 seconds left, the booth expected an end zone shot.
Here comes Alabama's Hail Mary.
But instead, they ran the same draw, which Yeldon took toward the Alabama sideline. He was met by Chris Davis, who not only forced him out, but unintentionally became an obstacle for Yeldon that kept him from actually reaching the sideline until after the clock hit 0. As CBS decided it was going to overtime, officials gathered and took a look at the play. Following the review, they put 1 second back on the clock, which brings us back to here.
They're going to try a field goal?
And from past to future, there's a lot on the line. We've watched 2 bitter rivals trade scores all night long, with the winner moving on to the SEC championship and possibly a chance at the national title from there. Alabama's kickers would probably rather throw out the game tape from tonight, but now they're being asked to win it here. Auburn is looking to cap off a turnaround season that few expected to happen in Malzahn's first year. And their senior corner waits, hoping to guide the Tigers back to the title game. After 60 minutes, it comes down to this. Welcome to a moment in history.
Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There it goes, Davis. Oh my God, Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Oh, hey, you're still here. So, you probably enjoy when bad things happen to Bama, in which case you'll like our if-then about what would have happened.
Yes. Just another day at the office of Dr. Lupo. He's not a doctor, he's a physician. But the doctor says that he takes sex surgical. Dr. Lupo is bad. That's also.
The first time Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman met, they gave us plenty of reasons to remember it. And from there, the media would never let us or them forget it. Beckham and Norman faced off for the first time late in the 2015 season. The Panthers were undefeated, the 6-win Giants were still very much in the NFC East conversation, and yet the receiver-corner duo took top billing. Beckham was putting together a very good second season, which was really just the continuation of an incredible rookie year. Meanwhile, Norman had established himself as one of the league's top shutdown corners, and one of the top trash talkers. It quickly looked like everyone was right about the must-see matchup. On just the 4th snap of the game, Odell blew past Norman. With the ball in the air, less than 90 seconds off the clock, he was steps away from proving that no one in the league could cover him. And he dropped it. Norman barked at the receiver, Beckham responded as he headed to the line, and they moved on to the next play, where Odell engaged Norman, then ended up on the ground. And with that, things went 0 to Beefy in a split second. Beckham caught Norman with his eyes in the backfield on the Giants' next possession, sending both to the turf. They'd find each other again, and again, and again. The refs finally decided to do something and flagged Beckham for this helmet-to-helmet hit. Norman stopped shadowing Odell for the rest of the first half, so it seemed like the fireworks were over. Whether this made Beckham bored or his frustrations of being catchless through the first half were growing, he found a new friend in Cortland Finnegan, who also isn't a stranger to him. His just had a much shorter shelf life thanks to the hands of Andre Johnson. Beckham got his first 2 catches late in the 3rd. He converted a 4th down on the 2nd one, then picked up a personal foul. After this, even Aikman and Buck had cooled to the showdown.
Probably speaking for most of the country, just tired of watching it. Just not really seen this from Odell Beckham.
So naturally, on the very next play, we got this.
What is going on? Have you seen a guy this thrown off his game before? Don't throw him out of the game, Joe, and they just might. I mean, he's out of control.
Both players got personal fouls, and no one was going to be able to chalk this up as just another game. At this point, it felt like this kind of just popped off. But knowing who each guy was coming into today, it helps paint a bigger picture. This was all before any Miami yacht trips, or fighting then making up with kicky nets, or anything the media would consider a tantrum. Odell Beckham was only 25 games into his career and already a poster boy for the NFL. He became a household name in just his 7th game when he made one of the greatest catches in NFL history against the Cowboys. A catch so good that it earned him a spot in camp and earned Nike an estimated $2.1 million just because he was wearing their gloves. Those players become a cover of Madden, but while none of that was guaranteed, being drafted in the 1st round out of a major program to its raised the expectations just a little bit. And to someone looking in from the outside, it could have felt like the success was laid out for him on a platter, thanks to playing in a major market for a team not that far removed from him. As for Josh Norman, nothing had come easy. He had to fight to stay on the Panthers roster. He had to fight to get a starting job. He even fought Cam Newton in training camp. So, once he found the spotlight in 2015, he wasn't going to give it up. He'd proved to be one of the league's best shutdown corners, keeping top receivers in check on a routine basis, and playing so well that he nicknamed himself Batman. Norman knew the work he put in to go from 5th-round pick to a piece that offenses were planning with, but it would make sense he still felt some need to be proving himself against the first-round talent opposite. His play hadn't gone unnoticed by Beckham, who even sounded eager to face it, despite not necessarily agreeing with the new moniker. But then there was proper deception. Norman reimagined Batman by bringing an actual baseball bat onto the field before the game. Charles Tillman said it came from a story told by one of their coaches about needing to protect what was theirs. But another member of the Panthers took it a step further. He approached Beckham, who reportedly offered a handshake the unidentified batsman declined, then allegedly told Beckham, "I'll be the reason this will be your last game." Which, first off, not a cool move. And second, justified Beckham not being thrilled to face the Carolina defense, no matter who lined up across from him. I'm not saying that excuses him for spearing Norman in the head multiple times, but it helps clear up how we got to this point. Norman would respond 2 plays later and pick up his second personal foul. Beckham scored the tying touchdown on a trailing Norman, then treated him like Tyronn Lue. And Carolina won with a last-second field goal. Lost in the shuffle was an incredible comeback, but afterwards, no one but the teams cared about the score. Speaking to the media, Norman let everyone know that today they saw the real Odell. Ashford was a 1-game suspension from the league. Norman received a fine, but kept on playing and made it to the Super Bowl where the Broncos defense bailed out Peyton Manning. That March, the Panthers gave Norman the franchise tag, and in April, they rescinded it. So conveniently, he joined New York's Detroit Tigers.